Hello, and welcome to Khyber Shards, a 5th edition actual play show set in the Eberron campaign world. It's Friday. Happy New Year.
Happy the New Year.
We made it. So we're obviously here for KSA with Colin. Hi, buddy.
What's up, my dude?
Not much. So we didn't really discuss it mechanically in the game, but this episode, we represented narratively that you have multiclassed Pog again.
Yeah, I'm like
you're doing Laura proud.
I'm one of those full-blown D&D people now. I am triple stacked multi-class. I respect and I gave up levels to gain him somewhere else. Pog's a whole new man.
No, so what did you do to Pog this time around?
Let me pull my sheet up so I have any specifics that you may be asking. We swore our oath, essentially. Was the intention of that scene at the Church of the Silver Flame, and so Pog is now picked up levels in Paladin.
Awesome.
He's now got a little bit more clarity in his calling and his purpose. So we had discussed this on my last KSA. I didn't want to reveal that I was going that route. But yeah, it made sense with the narrative that you've built for Pog and the evolution that I've experienced on the journey as Pog. It made so much sense. The natural relationship that has developed, his inner conflict of always questioning, do we work for you or do we work with you, to the people that give him direction, and for him to have been given assistance without feeling like he had earned it or owed anything in exchange was very much the kind of relationship that makes sense for Pog. This is my destiny kind of a thing. Yeah. So, we're a barb fighter paladin now.
Nice.
There's so much to keep track of.
No, I really liked when you mentioned it as an idea, Pog, as a paladin. And we talked through a bunch of different ways to represent the oath. So one of the things you decided against was taking a more formal oath, with Lady Taurus or something like that, administrating an oath of knighthood, as it were. So why did you decide you didn't like the idea of Pog being knighted, as it were?
I think that it's twofold, because I'm going to be honest, there's a big part of it that's player driven. But I think it's reinforced by the character. Pog is, especially in the moment of going to the church, he is damaged by his relationships. Having just watched the actual death of Ari. And he's not trying to belong to another group. The decision was made. I'd spoken with Eric and with you previously that there were a couple moments in our narrative previously where Pog was on the verge and might be leaving, not the strike force, but leaving the mansion and trying to figure out his place and his role, and that never having needed to come all the way full circle. There's just not really a drive from him to find his purpose with a different organization. The idea of him going and committing himself to the church is really committing himself almost more to like a philosophy, more than it is a dogma, or it is a strict religion, or an organization where there would be a rank and file. And there's a downside to it, which he will definitely ponder, and that there's there's ways he could go that he would get training. But it's about getting back and being more for his people. And while from the character level, obviously Pog having that conversation with the flame isn't something that he knows is going to change him ability wise. It's a great moment for him to have found clarity in what his commitment is to doing right by the people that are already in his life. And he's not exactly ready to sign up for more people to take that responsibility just yet, because we failed in our last encounter.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Remind me, did you retrain enough levels that you actually have a paladin oath now? And which oath did you go with if you did?
I do. I am the Oath of Vengeance.
Okay. That's what I thought, that I couldn't quite remember.
Is the route we went.
Yeah. That one works very well. You are joining the ranks of people who like paladin barbarian multiclassing, because a lot of the damage abilities of a paladin work even if you go into a rage, and that
being able
nice.
to, I mean, we've played fast and loose with those abilities under your allowance. Specifically with me being able to rage and still have control of the Echo Knight, which is what it's called mechanically. But to be able to factor in smite on top is definitely a combination of numbers I'm very excited to read next time.
Yeah. Yes, very much so. Very cool. Very cool. We also got some nice, felt like some nice development with Palarka.
Yeah. We did.
The kiss in the church. So, okay, I think there was a moment of, I think, very, very sweet, mild comedy, where Pog runs into the church with his girlfriend and says, "This is Solarka. She's great." And the preacher's like,
yeah.
This.
Do I need to get a certificate ready?
Right. Is that something Pog would just go completely over Pog's head, or is Pog just too focused
100%,
to get it?
It's over his head, and I've made a conscious choice in the verbiage with Pog, and every time he's introduced her, since Shade teleported us, it has been introducing that she is good, because that's what he's defining things in the world by, and so. She's good and she's important. It was just the most genuine way to explain that I'm going to talk, and this is a person who should be here for it because she is good and she is important. And I'm very glad to read back on the watch party chat in Discord and see that going to the chapel moment was only lost on Pog. Did you think that I was headed there in any way, that there was something that was going to happen?
No, I would have been caught off guard if you had decided, if you'd like proposed to Solarka in that moment. So no, I didn't think that's where that was going. But it was fun in spite of that.
Yeah, I love the idea of it, but to be clear, there is not a world where Pog wouldn't have Hular's blessing. There's just not. I mean, he has cautiously admired that man with genuine respect, because what a familial unit Hular runs. And so that would never be lost in the heat of any moment that, that would want Solarka, but would not want her separate from her family, because that's everything he did not have. So, that's it's a fun thought experiment, but no, that was never something that went through Pog's mind. I enjoyed when you had Solarka ask if she should join. I was like, yeah, come to the chapel. Let's see how Ari feels about this when he wakes up and finds out that we just raced back from the church together.
Oh man, the all of the NPC involvement in a Pog Solarka wedding is now just hilariously traipsing its way through my
It would
head.
be. Do you remember when Deadpool
hilarious.
got married in the comics, and the cover is every Marvel character? I feel like that's what it would be. In the back of the issue would be Zot as the caterer, just madly underpaid, but Thora would make it happen, or Esri would require that Zot be the caterer, just to troll Pog on his big day.
Oh man, that would be so funny. Well, we have just a few questions from this big episode, although big if slightly incomplete moment. We're not quite to the completion of all of the loose ends of this moment. So
boy, yeah,
understandably so. Yeah,
it's slow, but things happen. Boy,
do things happen.
I'm grateful. We were going to record this tonight no matter what, but we were going to play this evening.
Yeah. And
as you announced in the Discord that I would be KSA this week, I was like, dude, with what we have to get done tonight, this is just going to be another one. I have to go on KSA after Game Changers.
It's going to be you again. Oh man, that's funny. And hopefully you get a reprieve on that.
Nobody watching has any prediction of what it is that we're headed towards. So yeesh. But the first question is for you, actually.
It is.
It's Emily. Hi, Emily. Philip, are there any Forgotten Prince quests you had planned that you don't think will be able to be reused now that Arandis is Ari's patron?
Yes. I had in mind to have the Forgotten Prince complicate your politicking by deciding he wanted something from one of the Stormlords that you were trying to earn favor with. But before I got, and I hadn't quite decided what it was going to be. Like I was trying to decide if he was going to like demand the thing you got for Lady Omarin or something. The idea of making you guys steal something from Kiris Selshadra was very, very fun in my head. And something like weird and petty. But, or like the prince wants one of those chairs, or something like that.
Yes. I want one of those chairs. I'm having back spasms from having coughed for a week and a half. I want one of those chairs, man.
So I had that kind of loaded as something a little more lighthearted, but still with stakes to do. But before we got to that, you guys had the interaction with the White Raven and totally caught me off guard by just going with it instead of having it out. Like I was so caught off guard by that I totally forgot that the White Raven had it out for Pog.
If you rewatch, that's exactly what's on my mind the entire time. Yeah. That's why Pog had nothing to say after just hopping out of the sewer. Gulp. I
had it all like ready, like in the with the combat encounter, it was totally going to become like, the White Raven is gunning for Pog.
Right.
But then and you guys were just like, sure. I was like, okay, I don't know what to do with this. So exit stage left. And I'll figure out what I'm doing with it before I need to. And then I decided, okay, I absolutely want to bring Arandis back in, because one of the losses, obviously the big loss of RA not feeling up to continuing is we lost RA and Esri. But part of that was we had this interesting sideline with Arandis, and I was really sad to lose that. And so you guys offering me a just really good opportunity to bring her and Miravella and all of that back into the story was very much too good to pass up. And I So I kind of looked over the stats and gamed out how I thought the battle would go, and decided that Erandis would definitely win, largely because she'd bring help, and the Forgotten Prince is kind of a jerk and doesn't really have allies so much as
not a
minions.
huge list of homies.
Right. So not that Erandis is like kindly, but she has people. So that was fun, and it gave me some opportunities to sort of contemplate some lore with the Forgotten Prince, and a background that connected him to her, and I think I think this is more fun because I feel like we'd kind of, there was the potential for a showdown later on down the road, but I feel like we'd gotten most of the juice we were going to get out of the Forgotten Prince and Ari storyline that we were going to get. And so being able to bring some other narrative into the plot, and, for the Eberron people, it's obvious, but for anyone who's been watching the show, the fact that that Erandis is not it's not like Pog swearing an oath to the Silver Flame, which, while the Silver Flame's servants may be of various moral leanings, the Silver Flame is a positive force in the world, just full stop. Erandis is a lot more morally nuanced, to put it nicely.
How well said, sir.
And so the idea of how bad and how dangerous is the thing with Kulsir, how much help do you seek from this other being, with its with her own, very clearly her own agenda.
Yeah.
And so that was a fun opportunity. So I was so to read Emily's struck through part of her question, was Erandis becoming the Forgotten Queen an elaborate way to get rid of coming up with 10 more fetch quests? That was a bonus. That was a bonus. I was not coming up with them, not so difficult, but we were going to need to play some of them out, and there's already a lot going on. So being able to simplify certainly had its appeal. But no, I think of the things that we could play with, Erandis has some more interesting options than the Forgotten Prince does. And, resolved a problem in at least a short-term problem that you guys had in the difficult relationship with the Emerald Claw and Lady Mirabella. So there was a lot of cool things I think will come of that very surprising decision you guys made.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, me too. Emily has a couple other questions for you. One, if Pog died between this session and the next session, and you had to replace him with any one previously introduced NPC, which one would you choose? I really like this question. This is interesting.
I love this question. The challenge is that where my mind has been as a player recently, thinking for Pog, means it would probably go to the easy answer, and I would take on Solarka. Seeking vengeance, because that would be such, you've really helped in this relationship building in our role playing, and I'm pretty comfortable now with the fact that the feelings are deeply mutual, and there's more than the amusement of the affection, that we've got a couple characters that love each other, and I think it would be Solarka knows she has a place with everyone in the strike force and their extended family. And so I think that's the route I would go. It's maybe the easy out, because I'd really like to find a way to bring Thistle back to our realm and play them. But yeah, I think it would have to go to Solarka.
That makes a lot of sense.
And keep me playing had tortured youths of loss.
Although watching you play a Fae would be deeply hilarious. I would very much enjoy you watching you play a fairy warlock.
I couldn't listen. I know that D&D is not competitive, but I am not as good a player as Eric or Casey. And so there wouldn't be any temptation for me to all of a sudden like show up as a face and go, nope, battling for control. And that's just like, I don't have it in me to play that. And so I love the idea of bringing Thistle over because I would really enjoy getting to continue bumbling, but doing it bubbly, I think would be a lot of fun. Maybe Puzzle Dust. That'd be because I've discovered your voice for Puzzle Dust is King Candy from Wreck-It Ralph. And so I think I could do it. I think that'd be fun. And I would just be trolling Eric all game. Yeah. So got plenty of Halo experience with that.
No one's checked in on Puzzle Dust in a little while to see what happens to Puzzle Dust when the Forgotten Prince dies. That's no one's checked in on that.
That's true.
Emily also asks, again, on the subject of Pog being dead.
Emily, are we okay? Are we friends, Emily? Are you shooting for something here? Don't put this in Philip's head.
If Pog died and got reincarnated, which race would you / your character most and least like him to be reincarnated as?
I think what Pog would like most would be to be reincarnated as full orc, leaving behind his father's lineage, and getting to feel racially like he had a place, had a tribe, which goes all the way back to where we first started all of this. What he would like the least is the same thing that I would like the most. And I would like for him to be a gnome or a halfling. I think it would be very funny to play Pog as he is suddenly 3 feet tall. I think that would be delightful.
I agree.
I don't know how he would handle it. I love all of the consequences of that. Like, because there would be such a delightful time where he
polymorph. Oh.
There'd be such a delightful time where he would refuse to accept these limitations, and he would just be dragging, because thinking about how much he's carrying, like regardless of D&D weight restrictions, like he is carrying the great axe and the Vorpal sword, and so he would just be dragging those, I imagine, like tied to a rope behind him. And then as he walks up to Lark and goes, babe, listen, babe, it's me. It's still me. Okay. Still got a big heart. Like, I think that would be so funny.
Oh, yes, it would. It would be so very funny.
And for what I wouldn't want to play, I'm still so inexperienced in the world of D&D that I can't really think of anything. Tiefling feels like it would have some complications to me. Narratively, that I would have to be more educated in the world.
Yeah.
But that would also be fun. I probably wouldn't want to play a drow. Because it's more, at least my interactions with them in the various worlds of D&D, they're more dry than my personality can naturally drop into. And I just don't think that would be a good actual culture fit for me as a player. I would do the drow a disservice. Listening to you play drow, I'm like, I mean, I don't know how he stays there. And he still finds a way to make it fun and funny. And I literally can't comprehend your humor in that level because I don't know how you get to it. So there, we'll go with those as my answers.
All right. And Emily's last question is, had Ari not been returned to life, how would Pip have taken it?
I don't think very well. There's no hiding what the dynamic of the strike force is. Pog is very much the pop culture face of the strike force. He's the one whose pictures up front on the t-shirt merch. But Pog has never pretended to be in charge, and he's never done anything except defer to Shade and Ari, and Shade tends to accept a deference to Ari's best opinions. And so because of his respect for all of the members of the strike force, I think it would hit him pretty hard. I don't think anyone from the children or the Rebel Warren gang would do well with the death of any of the strike force, because there's something very romantic about living with your heroes and not having them brought down small. Because we come home from an adventure and we tell the stories, and then we might even be more impactful from a heroic standpoint because they see our struggles on a personal level in the house. I can't imagine a world where the quarreling and bickering that's occurred around the strike force table is not being eavesdropped on by all of the kids. It's impossible to imagine that. And so I think it would hit them really hard to have our metaphorical humanity really laid out for them. That'd be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a real challenge. Tough question.
Yeah. And our a last minute submission from Laura. Laura asks, if Pip became a warlock, who would his patron be?
The great old one. Because Pog would have to kick him out of the house. This is no more of this water nonsense. It's a good question. I'd say the Celestial would be the route that I would want that to play. I mean, Hexblade's the coolest. But I'd say the Celestial because in a different way, but very similar in spirit to Pog, the desire to belong manifests itself in caring for. And Pip on a character sheet level is not drawn up to be the person that's going to defeat the big bad. He is the person who can definitely help get people out of the burning house. Right. And so the protector healer route is probably the way I would go in drafting Pip as a warlock. That is a wild thing that is going to keep me up at night thinking about, though. Not the route I saw Pip going, but I could play.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that is our last question.
We made it.
So we will wrap this up. We did. Hooray. Go us.
Look at us go.
Thank you all so much for the questions. If you'd like to submit questions, you can do so over on our Discord, link to which you will find down in the What's It below, where you'll also find Colin's information. He can be sometimes found over on Twitch and in various places on the internet as Sorry BTR. The O is a 0. Randomly, because I don't pitch it often enough. If you want to hear me and Colin talking about other stuff that's not D&D, we got a podcast called I Never Got Into That, where we introduce each other to various fandoms that we like, or sometimes that neither of us knows anything about. And we take a sampling of it and discuss it. So come check us out over on wherever you get your podcasts from.
Every one of those wherevers.
All the podcasts. They're there. Anyway, new episodes of Khyber Shards drop every Monday. New Khyber Shards answers on Friday. And until next time, thanks for rolling with us.